What's up everyone? This video is a bit of a wild ride, but I'm here to walk you through the whole thing. It all started when I decided to head out to a small town called Paulsbo. It's about an hour away from my house. I went there a lot as a kid, so I thought it would be cool to go out and shoot some photos there. As I pulled up, I loaded my Pentax with some Portra 400, and right off the bat, accidentally fired the shutter button, wasted my very first frame, which didn't set the best tone for the rest of the day. I decided to hop on my skateboard and just take a skate throughout the town to see if there were even any compositions worth photographing. I came across a cool scene, this Mustang parked in front of this store, so I grabbed the Pentax and took this image, which is nothing special, but worth showing nonetheless. Right after that, it started to rain, which was highly unfortunate considering I had just driven an hour out to this town to shoot photos. So I decided to drown my sorrows in a maple bar covered with chocolate and a $7.32 vanilla latte with almond milk that tasted like complete. When I got back home, I was greeted with more rain, but I wanted to make the most of it by taking a photo of these kind of transparent leaves we have out in front of my house. When it rains, you can see the water droplets through the leaves, which I thought was pretty interesting. So I shot this image again, nothing special, but I'm glad I got it off my list at least. I then headed inside where I wanted to take a photo of my laptop on our living room table, but I accidentally flicked the mirror lockup switch, and when you do this, you can't see what you're composing. So I had to completely guess on the composition and measure focus with a tape measure. I set the shutter speed to what I thought was 2 seconds, but it was actually 1/2 of a second. Yes, I'm a complete idiot. Now I realized this shortly after I shot the photo, and the mirror flinged back up, and I looked through the viewfinder to see what the composition looked like, and it actually looked pretty good, so I decided to reshoot it at the correct shutter speed, which was 2 seconds. And I want to compare these two photos because it's interesting to look at the differences between the two. On the underexposed image, you obviously have that kind of classic film fade that appears when film is underexposed, but it's also pretty apparent that a lot more color is retained, especially in the highlights. If you look out the windows, you can see how much more green shows up on the underexposed version of this image. If I were to shoot it again, I would actually probably shoot it at 1 second, try to meet in the middle, get the best of both worlds. So at this point, I pretty much have accepted the fact that this is a completely experimental roll of film. So I decided to head out into the forest, basically in the pitch black, and try to shoot some eerie long exposures, none of which really turned out the way that I wanted them to. They all looked like they were basically shot during daytime. Now I tried to edit them a bit and get them looking a bit more like they were shot during nighttime hours, but I really wasn't ever able to achieve my initial vision with these photos. So that wraps up the first day of shooting. The next day I headed out towards the Olympic Mountains in hopes of getting some better results. What's up everyone? I have cruised back out towards the Olympic Mountains. I always end up driving out here with no real destination in mind. There's just a lot of really cool things to photograph on the drive. So we've stopped here at the first spot where I see a nice water tower, but I'm mostly interested in the cloud texture behind the water tower and then these green trees in front to hopefully make a decent image. Okay, I apologize if the audio is terrible. I'm working on the side of a highway right now, but I've managed to click the mirror lockup button again. I put this mirror lockup switch in the most inconvenient place possible. I'm gonna have to pull a Matt Day and put some gaffer's tape over it so that I stop flicking the damn button. So on this exposure, we will be completely guessing the composition yet again. It's gonna be f/16 at 1/500, and I've come to this power line trail that looks really nice, but yeah, the first frame I take here is gonna be a complete and utter guess. I'm starting to think that I should just guess on all of my compositions. This photo turned out basically exactly how I wanted it to. I don't even know if I could have centered it more perfectly had I actually been able to see what I was shooting. And then the beautiful color blotches in the grass mixed with those green tonalities in the trees that kind of make up this seemingly endless valley. This is probably my favorite photo from the entire shoot. All right, we're climbing up on top of the car because I have found a nice little lookout over this wide grassland with a bunch of fir trees that looks pretty rad. Sweet. So I wasn't gonna shoot another roll, but I just drove past this field of hay bales, which looks really, really nice, especially in the overcast weather. I don't have any more Portra 800 or else I would shoot that. So we're just gonna shoot some Portra 400. Now this is where things start to go south. I would recommend turning your volume off if you don't like the sound of joints making extremely questionable noises. Oh, sweet Jesus. Ow! Oh, I think I broke my knee. Now I haven't narrowed down the actual injury, but I spent some time on the phone with the doctor and sent him the video clip. And from what he gathered, it sounds like it's something with my meniscus. I can't really walk that well. I got a pretty gnarly limp going, but it's definitely gotten better over the last couple of days and there hasn't been any swelling. So all good news given the situation. Hopefully it's just a couple of weeks and I'll be good to go. I've stopped at this little white house on the Hood Canal that looks really nice, and I think I have a couple frames in mind for it. Yep, that's the sound of me flicking the mirror lockup switch yet again. What better way to wrap up the roll, wrap up the video, with the very last frame being another complete guess of a composition. By some miracle, I pretty much nailed it yet again, which kind of makes me question my entire photography career. I mean, my two favorite photos from this entire video were both ones that I couldn't see what I was actually shooting. That kind of raises some red flags, for me at least. Alright guys, that's going to wrap up this video. Let me know which photo was your favorite. This was probably one of my best bodies of work for any video that I've made thus far, in my opinion at least, so I'm interested to hear which photos you guys enjoyed viewing. Other than that, thanks for tuning in, and I will catch you guys next week. Peace.